afternoon, good evening, good morning. This leaked memo from Varakashi4ED March West has generated a lot of interest on the social media for good reason. The memo is supposed to be coming from Chairman Levison, Chambati. Subject: strategy on Nelson Chamisa. Anything to do with Zimbabwe's politics has always generated a lot of interest, but more so now. He writes, "Comrades, I've been following your writings and I can see the passion and the deep dislike you have for Nelson Chamisa. However, I want to advise you, let us not be too hard on him with insults or unnecessary abuse. And here is a knob of the argument. The truth is, Nelson Chamisa has done more to keep ZANU PF in power than all our combined efforts. Whether people want to admit it or not, that is at the heart of our problem. We cannot deny that MDC, CCC have been ZANU PF Team B in all but name. They failed to implement even one token reform in 25 years, including the 5 years in the GNU. And they've been, ever since the GNU debacle, they've participated in flawed elections to give ZANU PF legitimacy. That is at the heart of our failed political system. And there are some people who would want to deny that. It's a pity, because their denial of that does not change anything. The truth is not being changed by our denying it. It remains. And it is naive for anyone to keep pretending that somehow by denying it, we are changing the truth. We are not. But let me go back to the memo itself. Let's follow it up. Let us look at the facts. This is Chambati, the so-called leaked memo. Where else can you find an opposition leader who strengthens the ruling party by boycotting prior elections, effectively pushing for a one-party state? Where else can you find an opposition leader who keeps forming new parties, confusing his own supporters time and again? Well, Chamisa has done that. Where else can you find an opposition leader who disappears after elections, going on sabbatical when his supporters need him the most? Where else can you find a leader who substitutes real politics with endless Bible verses? stringing his supporters along with false hope. Where else can you find a leader who squanders donations like the infamous 120,000 US dollars, proving to his supporters that he is corrupt? Where else can you find an opposition leader who destroys his own party structures just to crown himself absolute ruler, showing his dictatorial tendencies? Where else can you find an opposition leader so weak and non-aggressive? This is the Chamisa effect. He is without doubt ZANU PF's biggest political asset. Therefore, our strategy must be clear. Let us continue to write negatively about him, but with precision. The more we attack him, the more his supporters will believe he is the true opponent of ZANU PF. This keeps them tied to a weak leader who is, in fact, helping us stay in power. If Chamisa quits politics, Zimbabwe may end up with a stronger opposition leader. And that would be disastrous for us. I trust you understand this directive and will adjust accordingly. Some people would want to deny that there is no truth in this. I believe they are only deceiving themselves. To be quite honest, Chamisa is not the first one to admit these things. Mnangagwa himself said the exact same thing recently when I was at his farm. When he told both ZANU PF leaders and MDC and Triple C leaders who were present that the opposition must continue with their opposition because that will help keep ZANU PF in power. During the GNU, ZANU PF operatives boasted that MDC leaders were never going to implement any meaningful reforms. And lo and behold, they failed to implement even one token reform. And when they were asked why are opposition leaders not implementing reforms, they boasted that opposition leaders mazwane MDC adzidza kudya nyerere. They will never upset the political system. And they were right. MDC leaders failed to implement even one token reform during the entire 5 years of the GNU. And ever since the GNU debacle, they have participated in flawed elections to give ZANU PF legitimacy. They knew the electoral process was flawed. They knew ZANU PF was rigging the elections. They also knew that by participating they will only be giving ZANU PF legitimacy. And yet, they've stubbornly continued to participate out of greed, pure and simple. The tragedy for Zimbabwe is that the people themselves, we the people, have been very slow in accepting that political reality. This is what has kept ZANU PF in power. There is no denying that Chamisa blatantly lied about plugging the vote rigging loopholes to give ZANU PF legitimacy, to con people to participate in 2023 elections, to give ZANU PF legitimacy. There can be no denying it. 2 million Zimbabweans participated in those elections because they believed Chamisa when he said he had plugged the vote rigging loopholes. C was going to win big. He knew he had not plugged any loopholes. Indeed, the day after the voting was done, he was the first one to complain that ZANU PF had rigged the elections. The very thing that he had said was not going to happen. I've played this video of Chamisa telling his supporters that it was God's plan that C would win, only for him to change his mind, to say otherwise. I would like to play that video again.
Makorokoto Zimbabwe nokuti hakuna munhu anomira kana denga raronga plan. Denga raronga plan, denga harifoiri. Plan yaMwari haifoiri. Ini ndatanga kugadzira cabinet. There is no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There is no way we are not going to have a celebration. There is no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
The truth is, he was lying. He evoked the name of God, that God was part of the plan. It was God's plan indeed for C to win, and he was preparing to form his new government. That was just a lie, pure and simple. It is a pity that the people of Zimbabwe have allowed themselves to be conned so easily, again and again, by these people, by Chamisa and company. I just want to show you the end of that leaked memo, showing who else was copied, and it makes interesting reading. Yours in the struggle, Comrade Levison Chambati, Chairperson Varakashi 4ED, Mashonaland West. And this was copied to some very interesting people there. Jamanda, Wende, C, and a few others, including Advocate Mayere and Daddy Hope. Could that memo be real or fake? I think the people copied into it may be fake. The whole memo itself may be fake. But the essence of the message is not fake. Chamisa has done more to help ZANU PF stay in power than most people would care to admit. And this is at the heart of our failed political system. But why the change of heart? I believe ZANU PF is instructing its operatives. Yes, they've got to keep boxing, punching Chamisa, but this time they've got to use kid gloves because this is their asset. They've got to go through the motions of pretending that they are abusing Chamisa and is a serious threat to ZANU PF when they know that he's the best foot forward. Why the change of heart, I said? Well, the change of heart is very simple to explain. Chamisa has conned millions of Zimbabweans to participate in these flawed elections, giving ZANU PF legitimacy. There is a saying that you can fool all the people some of the times. You can fool some of the people all the time. But you can never fool all the people all the time. And I think Chamisa is beginning to run out of luck. He has fooled millions, I totally agree, to participate in these flawed elections, telling them idiotic lies like I've plugged all the vote rigging loopholes when he had not done so. He's beginning to run out of luck. Because after being fooled so many times, I believe that many people are opening their eyes. Chamisa has got his work cut out for him. And these ZANU PF operatives and friends, handlers, are beginning to realize it. Conning Zimbabweans to participate in 2028 elections, flawed elections, with another idiotic, the blue movement is going to win big. I've plugged all the vote rigging loopholes. Hashtag God is in it. Is not going to be easy. Many people have started to question the truth of that. Many people begin to accept that Chamisa is a liar. If Chamisa cannot con the millions of Zimbabweans to participate in flawed 2028 elections, Chamisa is of no use to ZANU PF. And this is the reality that ZANU PF officials are beginning to appreciate. The truth is, Nelson Chamisa has done more to keep ZANU PF in power than all our combined efforts, said Chambati. He is absolutely right. But Nelson Chamisa's powers are waning. And this is why the strategy on how to handle Nelson Chamisa is being revised. This is why Nelson Chamisa is not going to be, is going to be treated with kid gloves. ZANU PF know that if there was a competent opposition in Zimbabwe, ZANU PF would not be in power today. They have every reason to fear that if Nelson Chamisa loses his influence, that would indeed be a disaster for ZANU PF. It will mark the beginning of the end of the ZANU PF dictatorship. Food for thought. Thank you very much, those of you who were able to join, and have a good day.